Good evening and welcome to Greater Hartford Twilight Baseball. Tonight, the East Hartford Jets are visiting the Ulbrich Steel from McKenna Field in East Hartford. East Hartford leadoff batter Santiago, center fielder, doubles on a ball toward right. And Criscolo, the shortstop, steps up, takes first pitch strike from Hawk. Nick Hawk on the mound for Ulbrich Steel, one of the league leaders in several categories. No one out. One and one now. Here in the top of the first. 2-1 to Criscolo. On deck, the right fielder, Lefebvre. Schultz, the pitcher, batting fourth for East Hartford tonight. Ball gets away, and Santiago will advance to third. So East Hartford picking up where they left off here, middle of the season, coming in at 6-5 and generating early runs to keep their opponents on their heels. And fouled back. Bring the count full. No one out. Santiago at third. Hawk looks in. Payoff. Outside for ball four. East Hartford now, 2 runners on. First and third, and up steps the right fielder, Lefebvre. East Hartford, the Jets, one of the teams that has been a surprise so far in the first half of the season. A ball up high from Hawk. (1-0) and a line foul of third. We'll see what East Hartford does here. With runners on first and third, see if they get that runner from first moving or what they do to try and advance these runners around. And a line drive past the outreaching arms of the second baseman, Sam DeMeo. And East Hartford cuts through real quick here in the top of the first with a run in. And still no one out. Runners on first and second. And now Schultz steps up. Nick Hawk among the league leaders in 4 categories. And a high fly ball to left field. Derek Allen under it for the first out. So Schultz is retired here. No advancement by the runners at first and second. Hawk comes in second in 4 different categories. Innings pitched. Second to Shane Bogley. 26 innings pitched. He's among the ERA leaders, giving up less than 1 earned run per outing. He's got 2 complete games thus far and 25 strikeouts. And here's the left fielder, Rivera, with 1 down. ball up high. And Rivera in charge here. 3-0. And ball inside. And Hawk has issued his second walk of the inning. So 2 hits and 2 walks. A fly out to left. The first 5 batters here, 1 run in, the base is loaded, and Hawk is going to have to do some work to get out of this one. The catcher, Dibble, steps up. The 6th batter of the inning. And an offering there appealed to the infield umpire. Dibble now at 2-1. And tap or foul evens the count. Corey Plasky, the second baseman, on deck here. And Dibble lines it to second base. He's got a shot at getting the runner off first, and he does. A nice double play line out. Dibble is retired on the double play. Rivera caught off first. So in the top of the first for East Hartford, 1 run on 2 hits and 2 walks. Handful of hard hit balls there. Double by Santiago. A single by LaFay. And Dibble's line out to second. East Hartford breaks through 1-0 here in the middle of the first. For East Hartford, around the horn here, Gilchrist at first, Plasky at second. Vieira at third and Criscolo at short. The outfield left to right is Rivera, Santiago, and LaFay. And the battery here will be Schultz and Dibble. In our pregame earlier tonight, speaking with East Hartford Jets player manager Kozakowski, was telling us that his pitcher, Jim Schultz, has been able to play a leadership role with this team, very young team, that has done some good things with the younger players to keep them prepared. Their mental preparation before the game, going over situations with them in game, and just keeping them focused on the task at hand, and it has worked thus far for East Hartford. So Jim Schultz taking a leadership role with this young East Hartford team, a team that struggled last season and now has found themselves in the middle of the pack, biting and snapping at the heels of a couple of teams ahead of them. But they've come up with several key victories early on. Leading off for Ulbrich Steel is Sam DeMeo, the second baseman. And base hit there to left center. Puts DeMeo on at first. And here's the left-hand hitting center fielder, Chris Anselmo. Right fielder Anino on deck. Ulbrich going to try and work its way back into a tie here in the bottom of the first. East Hartford leading 1-0, and a line drive to left field for a base hit, and takes a little bit of a funky hop. So Ulbrich threatening here early with 2 base hits and runners on first and second. And here's the right fielder, Greg Anino. Big right-handed hitting first baseman Peter Barros on deck. Ball fouled third base side. Ulbrich comes in at 2-7. Picked up their first win against Rainbow Graphics, 1-0 in an earlier twilight game of the week. And a little dribbler foul of first. Ulbrich picked up 1 run in the third and held on behind Nick Hawk's 7-inning shutout, complete game. And Anino takes strike 3 looking for the first out. So Schultz picks up his first strikeout of tonight's game. And Schultz going to have to be careful here with the big right-handed hitting first baseman Pete Barros. And a high fly ball toward right field. Under it is Lefebvre. Who hauls it in for the second out. DeMeo advances to third on the sacrifice. And Anselmo advances on the throw in. So with 2 down now, Derek Allen, the left fielder, steps up. Of the 7 Ulbrich losses, 5 of them by 1 run. And so herein lies the challenge that we see right before us for now. Can Ulbrich get that 2-out hit that they need in order to get runs across? With runners in scoring position, second and third. And 1-1 to Allen. The ball in the dirt there. Nice recovery by catcher Chris Dibble. Field mostly shaded, except for deep right and right center, with the lights on. And ball up high. Schultz definitely got some pop in that arm in this early inning. Speaking of pop, Tyler Pop on deck, and Derek Allen swings through to bring the count full. And Schultz overpowers Allen in that at-bat to get him swinging. And the cobwebs persist for Ulbrich with runners in scoring position. 2 runners left on 2 hits. At the end of 1, it is East Hartford 1 and Ulbrich 0. Baseball fans, join us on July 14th at Palmer Field for our Hardball for Heroes charity series. All 8 franchises will be featured, including a night game at 8 p.m. from Palmer Field in Middletown to support the American Legion. That's our Hardball for Heroes charity series. All 8 franchises, 4 games, 1 price admission. July 14th from Palmer Field in Middletown. For East Hartford here in the top of the second, the 7-8-9. Corey Plasky at the plate here, take a first pitch strike. Second baseman Plasky leading off here. And Jeffrey Gilchrist, the first baseman, on deck. A fly ball to center field. Handled easily by Anselmo for the first out. And Nate Vieira on deck. Gilchrist now down 1-2 in the count. It looks like Nick Hawk might be settling down here in the second inning. The 2-2 wristed off the first base side. And a hard hit ground ball to short. Goldman scoops it up. A clean throw to Barrows. Gets the second out here in the top of the second. But Nate Vieira now, the third baseman, steps in. A first pitch strike by Hawk, who's now gotten in front of the batters here in the top of the second. Line shot down the third baseline. Sends the ball into the tarp. Put Hawk ahead, 1-2. Foul back here. Keep the count at 1-2. And a ground ball third base, Wes Ulbrich, with a clean field and throw over to Barrows to retire the side. So Hawk gets his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. No runs on no hits, no errors. At the end of 1.5, it's East Hartford 1 and Ulbrich 0. Baseball fans, join us on July 21st at Dunkin' Donuts Park for our charity series, Spreading Orange, Multiple Sclerosis. That's July 21st, 4 games, 1 price admission at Dunkin' Donuts Park all afternoon. Greater Hartford Twilight Baseball League appreciates you listening and viewing our game of the week tonight. featuring the East Hartford Jets and the Ulbrich Steel. I am Dan Saccu, your play-by-play, with our producer, Macon Jeffries. Join us on YouTube, GHTBL, for live stream all season long. Instagram, @GHTBL, and on Facebook, GHTBL. For Ulbrich, they'll send up the 6, 7, 8 hitters, the catcher Tyler Pop, third baseman Wes Ulbrich, and the shortstop Matt Goldman. An earlier conversation before the game with Pop, he said that he really liked what his pitching staff has been able to do in this first half of the season, and that their biggest challenge has been getting the runners in scoring position around to put some runs on the board. So leading off here, he'd like to get some things started for his starter, Nick Hawk. Schultz, once again, ahead on the batter early in the count. And Pop with a deep drive toward left. Not quite to the warning track. So hauled in there by Rivera. And up steps the hot-hitting Wes Ulbrich with 2 hits in the last game. And he squares the bunt, pulls back. Strike from Schultz. Schultz with a slider there, picks up the outside corner. So Ulbrich behind here, 1 and 2, and a line drive base hit for Ulbrich, digging around first, and a solid hit there. And the third baseman stays hot. And here's the shortstop, Matt Goldman, with 1 down. With Ulbrich at first. Gilchrist holding him on. Swing and a miss there. And Schultz once again ahead on the batter. And Schultz gets Goldman swinging for the second out. And here comes the designated hitter, Grayson Pizzona. Left-hand hitting Pizzonia with Ulbrich at first and Schultz from the stretch. First pitch strike there. Schultz now at 2-1. Like he just missed on that pitch to run the count 3-1 now, with 2 down, and Ulbrich at first. And a walk here issued to the 9-hitter will send up Sam DeMeo, the second baseman. DeMeo singled in the first and was left at third as part of the bases loaded. Oh, I'm sorry. As part of the second and third outcome that Schultz was able to shut down in the bottom of the first. Chris Dibble out to talk to his pitcher. Figure out what he's going to do here. Maybe he remembered something. He remembered something in the sequence. Getting some instructions out to the infield. And DeMeo swings a foul back here behind the plate. Chris Anselmo, center fielder, on deck. 2 outs and 2 runners on. Ulbrich trying to find a way to solve their runner in scoring position problem. Schultz works the 1-1 to DeMeo. And a tapper to the right side, and Schultz underhands it easily to Gilchrist. And Ulbrich is retired in the bottom of the second. Two more runners left on. So 4 runners left on base, and 3 of those runners in scoring position for Ulbrich here early in tonight's game. For East Hartford here in the top of the third, the center fielder, Santiago, steps up. Santiago doubled in the first and came around to score. Walks here to lead off the third. So Michael Santiago on at first. And let's see what East Hartford does here with the top of the order and the number 2 hitter, Jeff Criscolo, shortstop at the plate. And a ball inside, and Santiago is going to advance to second. And he's going to circle around second. Takes a look, but Pop retrieves the ball. Plenty of room here, East Hartford, down the lines and behind the plate. .330 down the line, 365 in the gaps. And a high fly ball toward left, and it's going to drop in there in no man's land between the shortstop, the center fielder, and the right fielder. And it looks like Derek Allen may have come up a little short on that attempt. And so East Hartford now with runners on first and second. And Jake Lefebvre. And a pop up here. Falls outside the reach of the catcher, Tyler Pop. Criscolo at first, Santiago at second. To lead off top of the third here. Lefebvre down, count 0-1, Hawk. Swings foul there. Go 0-2. Pitcher Jim Schultz on deck. Fouled back into the net right in front of us. And Lefebvre is down 1-2 with no one out and 2 runners on. East Hartford up 1-0. And Lefebvre stays alive on that offering from Hawk. And a line shot down to first base. Barrows gets a glove on it, but he's unable to scramble back and get the tag on the base before Lefebvre crosses the bag. So an infield hit there, and East Hartford has the bases loaded with no one out. And the number 4 hitter, pitcher Jim Schultz, steps up. Schultz trying to help himself out here with Mike Rivera, the right fielder, on deck. And a ground ball to second could be a double play attempt. And he somehow Goldman was not able to get the ball over to DeMayo. So the ground ball held up. Spinning through the grass. And East Hartford still in business. A run across and the base is loaded on the infield hit. RBI by Schultz. Mike Rivera, left fielder, steps in. Criscolo at third, LaFay at second, and Schultz at first. 2 infield hits and a walk. With a no man's land hit to left center, have given East Hartford a 2-0 lead. Rivera back in here with the bases loaded. And a ground ball foul of third. Player coach Taylor Kozakowski picking that ball up. And Rivera advances on the walk and an RBI for the second run this inning and a 3-0 East Hartford lead. With Chris Dibble stepping in and a line shot. Foul of third base. Ricochets off the fence down there. A hard hit ball off of Hawk's first offering. And a nice pitch on the outside corner there to bring the count to 0-2. With no one out and the bases loaded. And a flailing swing. Goldman picks up and the ball with the infield in. Goldman attempts to get LaFay at home. The ball was wide, first base side of the plate. Rivera will advance to third. Dibble on the error gets to second. And East Hartford now with 4 runs in this inning and a 5-0 lead. And Corey Plasky steps in. Oh, and a pitch inside there. The second baseman, Plasky. So Dibble with a flailing swing dribbler ground ball to short. Finds his way at second on the errant throw from Goldman to Pop, and the bases loaded, and a line drive and dropped by the second baseman, DeMayo. Ball hit right at him. I may have been a little too anxious there to get the ball out of his glove and maybe try and pick up a double play. Nonetheless, he does retire Plasky for the first out. And Jeffrey Gilchrist with another ground ball to short with the infield in, looks back. Rivera at third, and Goldman tosses over to Barros for the second out. And the ninth batter of the inning, third baseman Nate Rivera steps in. First pitch strike there. So Hawk trying to get out of this. With a crooked number 4 up. And Vieira smashes one to left center. Derek Allen catches up with it for the third out. Ulbrich gives up 4 runs and a little bit of everything. 2 infield hits, a hit into the Bermuda Triangle out there in left center, and 2 walks and an error result in 4 runs, a 5-0 East Hartford lead, and an error thrown in to boot at the end of 2.5. It is East Hartford 5, Ulbrich 0. All right, Ulbrich in the bottom of the third, Chris Anselmo, Greg Anino, and Pete Barros. the 2-3-4 hitters. And Schultz takes to the mound for the third inning. Schultz has left 4 runners on, 3 strikeouts through the first 2 innings. And nice pitch there on the outside part of the plate. Foul back. Runs the count even at 2-2. And a line drive to second. Easily handled there by Corey Plasky to retire Anselmo on the line out. So 1 down for Greg Anino. Schultz down low on that first pitch. We're in the box here in East Hartford. Lights are on. One and one now to the right fielder, Anino. And Schultz runs the count ahead now, 1-2. Not sure if Anino is frustrated with himself or with the call. Either way, Schultz gets him looking on that pitch. So 2 down now. And Barros, who is among the league leaders in home runs. Actually, he is the league leader in home runs with 3. And Schultz working efficiently now. Gets the first 2 batters in the bottom of the third. And Barros runs the count up to 3-1. And now walk with 2 outs brings the left fielder Derek Allen to the plate. Barros on at first. And Gilchrist holding him on. And a strike on the inside corner. Derek Allen now at 1-1. Catcher Tyler Pop on deck. A wait and see game here. And Derek Allen steps out. Now Allen up on the count, 2-1. Ulbrich trying to get something going here with 2 down in the bottom of the third. And no runs in for them just yet. And a little tapper back to Schultz to retire the side. Schultz gives up one walk. Ulbrich leaves the 1 runner on. Barrows at first, a strikeout. And at the end of 3 complete, East Hartford 5 and Ulbrich 0. So pitching change here for Ulbrich. And Chris Fritz is on. Hits the first batter, Michael Santiago, leadoff hitter. Santiago doubled and scored in the first, walked and scored in the third. Now on for the third time tonight. And his shortstop, Jeff Criscolo, steps in. Criscolo walked in the first, was left at third, and singled in the third. And a ground ball to third baseman Ulbrich, a little wide of a second baseman, but a ball that could have been handled by DeMeo. Leads to an error. Criscolo is on at first, and Santiago advances to third. So here we go again. In East Hartford, runners on first and third and nobody out. And Ulbrich at double play depth going to give up the run for the 2 outs. And a ground ball to second base. And over to Goldman. And Santiago will score. But the double play works itself out on the 4-6-3. So Criscolo and the hitter LaFay retired. LaFay singled and left stranded at second in the first. Singled on the infield hit in the third and scored. At that time, East Hartford's 4th run. So East Hartford now with 1 run in the 4th here and a 6-0 lead. And the pitcher, Jim Schultz, at the plate. Schultz flied out to left field in the first, singled and scored in the third. Two down. And another hit by pitch puts Schultz at first. And up steps the left fielder, number 22, Mike Rivera. And East Hartford, the visiting team in their hometown, gets a little hometown tune going. Doot, 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 and foul back. Oh, and 2 now to Rivera. And Rivera swings through for a strikeout. And Fritz gets out of the inning with 1 run. 2 hit batters, an error, and a double play. East Hartford extends their lead to 6-0 at the end of 3.5. Baseball fans, join us all season long, live stream on YouTube, online at ghtbl.org, on Facebook, GHTBL, and follow us on Instagram at GHTBL for game videos, highlights, team information, rosters, archives, and league history. Online, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. all season long. Baseball fans, join us on August 18th for the 2019 All-Star Game at Muzzy Field. It's the Greater Hartford Twilight Baseball League All-Stars will face off against the Connecticut Twilight League All-Stars on August 19th at 7 p.m. from Muzzy Field in Bristol, Connecticut. This year's matchup will be the fourth time these two all-star teams will meet. And here we go in the bottom of the fourth. The catcher, Tyler Popp, leading off. So Ulbrich will send up the catcher, Popp, the third baseman, Ulbrich, and the shortstop, Matt Goldman, the 6, 7, 8 hitters here in the bottom of the fourth. And Jim Schultz with a 3-inning shutout thus far. Ball down low. And Pop swings through for Schultz's fourth strikeout. Fifth strikeout of tonight's game. And up steps Wes Ulbrich. Wes has one of the 3 hits tonight off Schultz. A single in the second on a line drive toward right center field. And another fly ball toward right field. Looks like it might be trouble. Back goes the right fielder, and against the warning track, Maffei hauls it in. So another well-hit ball there by Ulbrich. And Goldman steps in with 2 down. And Schultz consistently ahead of the batters. And ball down low brings the count to 1-1. Two and one now to Goldman. Dibble back out to have a word with Schultz. 2 down. Here in the bottom of the fourth. Goldman gets a 2-out walk. And a designated hitter, Grayson Pizzanaya, steps up. A ball up high there. Goldman at first on the walk. Being held on by Gilchrist. And there goes Goldman. Reaches second in time on the stolen base. So now Ulbrich with a runner on second. And this their fourth runner in scoring position. 2 down. And the 9-hitter, late on that attempt, Schultz brings the count to 2-1. And now 2-2. The bottom of the order here trying to generate something for Ulbrich and break through here in the bottom of the fourth. And a one-hop pitch blocked by Dibble. And Schultz wants a new baseball. And Schultz overmatches Pizzanaya in that at-bat to record his 6th strikeout. At the end of 4 complete, East Hartford 6 and Ulbrich 0. Baseball fans, tonight's game is brought to you by Briarlee Family Campgrounds. Briarlee Family Campgrounds located in northwestern part of the state. Find us at brialee.com. That's BRIALEE.com. For Ulbrich, Chris Fritz back on in his second inning of work. Back in the fourth, 2 hit batters, a run in. And for East Hartford, Chris Dibble leading off. Second baseman Corey Plasky on deck. And the first baseman Jeffrey Gilchrist will round out the first 3 hitters this inning. And Dibble retired on the fielding play by DeMeo for the first out here in the top of the 5th. And here's the second baseman, Corey Plasky. Plasky flied out to center and grounded out to fly ball to center field. Looked like it might have been a little bit lost in the lights there. And Selmo in center field, the ball drops in front of him. And Plasky is on at first with a base hit. Plasky with a couple of strange at-bats. The second at-bat back in the third was a line drive to the second baseman with the bases loaded. That was runners on second and third. And the second baseman dropped the ball. That was the first out in the third inning when East Hartford opened this game up with 4 runs. So Gilchrist and a line drive to third. Snag there for the second out. It looks like we have a change in defensively for Ulbrich, with Wes Ulbrich out now at third. I have to see if we can get who that is. And Vieira now at the plate, the 9-hitter, third baseman, with 2 down. And there goes Plasky. Pops throw down the second is late. And Vieira getting some cat calls from his own side there on his swing. One needed for the second strike. And he takes a third strike looking from Fritz, who records the second strikeout of the game. And East Hartford is retired here in the 5th. No runs on 1 hit. 1 runner left on. At the end of 4.5, it is East Hartford 6, Ulbrich 0. And here's the second baseman, Sam DeMeo. DeMeo among the league leaders in stolen bases with 5. And Hector Gonzalez for Record Journal leads the league with 6. So DeMeo singled in the first, was left stranded at third, and grounded out on a tapper back to the pitcher to end the inning in the second. And leads off with a strikeout looking here in the fifth. Center fielder Chris Anselmo steps in. Anselmo singled in the first, left stranded at second, lined out to the second baseman, leading off the third. Foul back into the net here behind home plate. Anselmo down 1-2. Ball up high. Schultz working now through 4 1/3. Shutout ball. 7 strikeouts. Ball down low. Count now even at 2-2. And a beautiful pitch on the inside corner from Schultz to get Anselmo looking. And Anino steps in. Two down here in the fifth. So the top part of the order and a ground ball to short. Criscolo scoops it up. A clean throw to Gilchrist. Retires the side in order. For Ulbrich, no runs, no hits, no errors, 2 strikeouts. Looking. 8 total now for Schultz through 5 complete. We go to the top of the 6th. 6-0 East Hartford. Top of the order for East Hartford in the sixth. Santiago reaches on an error on off of Goldman's glove. And Criscolo now. Criscolo with a walk, a hit, reached on an error in the fourth. 1 run scored for him. His fourth at bat tonight. Here in the top of the sixth. And Fritz on for his third inning for Ulbrich, giving up the 1 run in the fourth. We got some action down in the corner. East Hartford in the bullpen. Looks like we might see a pitching change coming up in the bottom half of this inning. In the meanwhile, they got runners on first and second. Criscolo gets a free pass. And LaFay now at the plate. And a little tapper toward first for Barros. And Fritz darts over. From the pitcher spot to retire LaFay, 3-1. The runners advance, second and third. The first out here in the sixth. And the pitcher, Schultz, steps in. So without a pinch hitter, Schultz, if he's replaced at the mound, will most likely take a position spot. And a diving play at third, and a nice toss over to first. By DeMeo, who moved over to third last inning. And Damian Hortson, now the second baseman. So Schultz retired 5-3. For the second out. And Mike Rivera steps in. Rivera walked in the first and the third. Struck out swing to end the inning in the fourth. The ball up high brings the count to 2-1. Rivera with a home run this season puts him among the league leaders in home runs with 1. Several other players, including player manager Taylor Kozakowski for East Hartford. A high fly ball, foul of first, and outside the playing area. Barrows heads over that way. East Hartford with a run in here. Santiago at the top of the order, just a menace. Causing all kinds of problems with 4 runs. Scoring all kinds of ways. A double in the first, a walk in the third. He was leadoff batter Santiago hit in the fourth and reached in this inning on an error to score. And 7 runs as DeMeo smothers a ball at third, and a tag by Barrows, a quick tag on the backside just before Rivera reaches the plate, reaches the bag at first. So 2 nice plays there by DeMeo at third. Leaves two runners stranded. One runner stranded. Criscolo at second. And for East Hartford, tack on another run here to make it 7-0. For Ulbrich in the bottom of the sixth, it'll be the 4-5-6, Barrows, Allen, and Pop. And Schultz back on for East Hartford. Schultz thus far with a 5-inning shutout and 8 strikeouts. Two strikeouts in the first, the fourth, and the fifth, and single strikeouts in the second and third. So at least one batter retired at the plate each inning. Baseball fans, join us on July 14th from Middletown, Connecticut, Palmer Field. Hardball for Heroes charity series. All 8 franchises featured in 4 games throughout the day. One price admission, including a night game featuring Maloff's Jewelers. That's July 14th, Hardball for Heroes from Palmer Field. And Barrows crushes one to center, but not deep enough. This field gets pretty lofty out there. You extend toward the gaps at 365. It's got to be close to 400. At least 380. Looks like dead center. Got to be all that and probably more. And Kozakowski in. To replace Schultz. looks like the left-hander Gagnon steps in here. With one out in the sixth. So Schultz is done. He goes to the bench, leaving after 5 1/3. Of shutout, 8 strikeout effort here in East Hartford. He retired the last 5 batters in a row. And 16 of 20. Going back to the third batter of the game. Schultz gave up consecutive hits in the first to DeMeo and Anselmo. And that was pretty much it. Lights out the rest of the way for the most part. Scattered 3 walks and a hit. So Schultz with the 3-hit shutout over 5 1/3. And here's Derek Allen with 1 out here in the sixth. Gagnon ahead on Allen here, 1 and 2. Fly ball, foul of first down the right field line. Gagnon gets his first batter swing. Strikeout for the second out. And Tyler Pop steps up. Pop flied out to left. Struck out swing in the fourth. Leading off both innings. Ball down low there from Gagnon. Evens the count at 1-1. Pop down here, 1-2 to Gagnon. And ball in the dirt there. Evens the count at 2-2. Left-hander Gagnon. And a pop fly of first in play. It looks like, on top of the dugout. Fouled again. Pop stays alive. And a drive toward left field deep. Way back, way back. And it is gone. Tyler Pop breaks through for Ulbrich here in the bottom of the sixth. With a home run to left field. And it's 6-1. Pop, along that bat, he earned that swing, fouling off several pitches before finally getting a hold of one off the arm of Gagnon. And Ulbrich with an exclamation point to get a run cross on the home run by Pop. And up steps the pinch hitter for Ulbrich, Garrett Bremer. pop fly of first and misplayed. There by Gilchrist. Keeps Bremer alive. Gagnon now issues a 2-out walk. And the 8-hitter Goldman, shortstop, steps in. Goldman struck out in the second. Walked and left stranded in the fourth. And Gagnon is going to be relieved before throwing a pitch to Goldman. And player manager Taylor Kozakowski will step in here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Baseball fans, join us on July 21st at Dunkin' Donuts Park for our Spreading Orange series, charity series for multiple sclerosis. That's July 21st. All 8 franchises, 4 games, all afternoon, 1 price admission. Our Spreading Orange charity series to support multiple sclerosis in Dunkin' Donuts Park in Hartford, Connecticut. So Kozakowski now on for East Hartford, a 6-1 lead. And he'll face Goldman with 2 outs and a runner on. Bremer at first. The first pitch from Kozakowski is high for a ball. I got to hand it to Kozakowski here. He brings Gagnon in a situation where the young player can have some success, make some mistakes, and not really do a lot of damage to the team or the game. Gagnon had the strikeout and give up the home run and the walk. But the young lefty gets some experience that in the second half of the season can be beneficial to East Hartford. Kozakowski now on. See if he can get this 3rd out here in the bottom of the 6th. And a 6-1 lead. And that was the sense I got in a hit by pitch. Dibble back to pick that ball up before Bremer can advance to 3rd. So now 2 runners on. And led with a pinch hitter here. Nope. Pizen. No pinch hitter here. Designated hitter, the 9 batter, Pizzanaya. With runners on first and second. Getting back to the East Hartford story, Taylor Kozakowski now on the mound, making decisions for this team, and he told me early on that he wants this team to continue to grow through the season, and when he has opportunities like he did tonight to bring Gagnon in a situation with 1 out, and Schultz, who could have easily finished this game, is working a shutout through 5 1/3. Kozakowski gives Gagnon an opportunity. Put himself in a 1-out situation. Gets the first batter on a strikeout, and Gagnon leaves with, after the home run by Pop and a walk. But he has something to work on now. And I think that's what East Hartford's looking for as they move into the second half of the season. They're looking to get these young players more experience and opportunities to grow from their mistakes. And a beautiful curveball by Kozakowski to end the inning. The 1 run on the home run by Pop here in the bottom of the 6th. Ulbrich finally breaks through. It's 6-1 East Hartford. back here now on the top of the seventh, East Hartford, with Chris Dibble leading off, now at 1-2. It's Dibble, Pulaski, and Gilchrist, and a pop fly down toward left field, and it looks like Derek Allen with the basket catch to retire Dibble. And on our audio delay to start the seventh here, as second baseman Pulaski steps in, we're able to get pitcher Jim Schultz up here in the booth. Jim, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good. Come on over. We got so Jim, you had a great start tonight through 5 1/3 with 8 strikeouts. You only gave up 3 walks, three walks and 3 hits. It looks like. How what were some of the things that you saw from your plan pitching to this Ulbrich team?
Well, we saw him just 2 days ago, so I got to take a look at the lineup through our game on Tuesday. So that really helped sort of game plan some of the hitters in the lineup and gave me a good chance to go see him. So I also threw an inning on Tuesday, and that definitely lended for some of the success today.
Good. So in the first inning, you gave up the 2 hits early, and then you settled in. One of the things that Ulbrich has had struggled with is runners in scoring position and getting some runs across in some of their games. They have 5 losses that are 1-run games. Was that a concern of yours early in the game in wanting to prevent them from getting an early lead on you guys?
Well, we had I think we scored 1 in the top of the frame, if I'm not mistaken. And anytime that we go out and score, I always want to put a 0 up right behind it and keep the momentum on our side. So the first 2 guys getting base hits on me certainly wasn't part of the plan. Especially with the middle of their order, you always want to get the guys out in front of Barros in the middle of that order. So having 2 guys on wasn't what we planned for, but it was nice to be able to come up with some big outs against the middle of the order there.
Yeah, and the good news is that following those 2 hits, 16 of the last 20 batters that you faced were retired, so including the 8 strikeouts. Did you feel like you could have gone beyond the 5 1/3? You had a shutout game going.
Well, this was my first start in the last 4 or 5 years, so I was sort of happy that it was where it was. We got a bunch of guys out here that they work real hard too during the day, and it's nice to be able to have a lead to hand over to the pen sometimes too, instead of at this point in my career, I don't need to be the star of the show anymore. It's just nice to be out here every now and then.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Your first start in 4 or 5 years. What's been going on? You previously playing here with the Twilight League?
This is my first season with this league out here. So after college, I played a couple of years of independent ball and a year overseas in Australia, and that was a great experience. At the end of my career, I had Tommy John in 2013, and after that, I was just I was just sort of disappointed a little bit out of baseball for a while, and then a buddy of mine back in New York asked me to play when I was living there, so I played in a men's league over there, the HVNABA, and I had some fun over there too, but it was just a point in my life with my career going at the time where I didn't have the time to commit to it anymore. So, I put the game down for a little while, and then I actually ran into Bill Holowati out at a ball game, and he told me what he was doing over here with this league, and after playing for him, I just couldn't say no to him and do anything for that guy. So when he said, "I got a team that I want you to come play for and have some fun," and I got in touch with Taylor, and we hit it off over the phone. So I said this is a good time for me to get back into it now.
Jeffrey Gilchrist with the ground ball to short, and the one hopper not able to be handled by Barros over at first, puts him on, and Plasky rounds the score after the stolen base following his walk. And so now 8-0 East Hartford. And the bottom of the order, Nate Vieira. Can you tell us a little bit about this guy, Nate Vieira? Among the league leaders in runs scored, and he's a 9 batter.
Yeah, Nate's a good athlete. He can play all over the field for us. Real versatile guy, real good team guy, real good attitude. Just been working with him offensively for early. I've only known Nate for a few months now, but everything that I've brought through him, he's just really taken on and just studied well and embraced it. So it's nice to have a lineup where Nate's your 9 guy, and he's doing a great job for us.
I want you to take a step back here. I want to ask you about the influence that Coach Holowati has had with you, because you mentioned that he approached you and talked to you about some of the things that were going on with the league and kind of sparked the fire for you again. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that relationship you have with him?
I played for Bill between 2008 and 2011 at Eastern, and he was definitely one of the biggest motivators, and certainly the best motivator that I have ever had the privilege of getting to know and talk with and learn from. And anytime that he had something to say, the ears were open. I was listening, always trying to get better. And he's a tough guy and a guy that you got to respect out there. So anytime that he has something to tell me, and I'm always there to listen. I think that most of the alum out there who played for Coach would have a lot of the same types of things to say about him. There was nothing that you wouldn't do for that guy.
Yeah, that's one thing for sure. Coach Holowati has a presence about him. Whether you play the game or whether you're somebody who just loves the game, he's somebody that just kind of resonates, within you very early in the conversation. And he's a good leader for this league.
And brings the best out of you every time. He always brings the best out of you.
And an important, figure now for the league. And so Gilchrist caught stealing for the 3rd out after Vieira strikes out looking. Can you stay with us through the inning? Or?
Yeah.
Great. All right, great. Tonight's game brought to you by Briarlee Family Campgrounds. Activities, beautiful, spacious facilities. Look us up at briarlee.com. That's BRIALEE.com. Baseball fans, reminder, July 14th, join us for the Hardball for Heroes charity series from Middletown, Connecticut, Palmer Field. 1 price admission, all 8 franchises, 4 games, including a game under the lights. That's July 14th at Palmer Field. Jim, before the game, I had a chance to talk to Taylor Kozakowski, who's closing this game out for you guys, about the team. And, your 6-5 start here, about halfway through, a little bit past halfway through your 12th game here now, and a good possibility, very likely, you'll go 7-5. I talked to him a little bit about this team, and in his conversation, he brought up some of your leadership with the younger players on this team. And tell us about what your role has been and some of the things that you've done to kind of incorporate a different kind of approach, a different kind of discipline for this franchise.
Well, first of all, Taylor stuff that this guy does. He bends over backwards for guys. So to be able to help another guy that really cares as much about team, its success, but more importantly the guys on it is really nice to be paired with somebody like that. And I'm grateful for Bill for connecting us and getting this relationship started. It's been great so far. One of the things that I had mentioned before I even agreed to play with Coach was that I wanted, if I was going to do something, I wanted to be around guys that were still trying to do something with their career, guys that have some ability, that are looking to get better. I spent a lot of time after I was done playing myself, coaching, and I had coached some high school level teams for a few years, and that's something that I've really enjoyed doing.
DeMeo with a fly ball to center. And a great play there.
Get up, Mike.
By Mike Santiago, the center fielder. Santiago, one of the players that has produced for this team.
He's been outstanding. His versatility to be able to catch a great game as well as make all the plays that he's made in center field. When Mike's around, it certainly lengthens the lineup quite a bit. It gives us a guy that's really athletic and a very disciplined hitter at the plate as well. He's a great find for us. But a lot of the young guys have been really tremendous this year. You already mentioned Vieira. Vieira's a guy that we've been helping out quite a bit. But Corey over at second base has been doing a nice job. And then there's a bunch of other guys that obviously couldn't be here today that have been really nice to work with, working with some of the pitchers out there to try and help them get better every year. Because that was always one thing that Bill preaches, that if you came back and you weren't any better than you were last year, then you went backwards. And that's never something that I want to see anybody have to feel like, is that between the time that they spend here, I want to help them get better and improve. And when you're better, the game's more fun. So I like to have fun. I like to win.
What are some of the things that you've done, let's say specifically with some of the young pitchers, to help them improve, through the first half of this season? Is it their mental approach before the game? Is it how they kind of focus in on a particular batter, looking at situations? And a fly ball towards Santiago and the Bermuda Triangle out there. It looks like Klasky.
So a lot of pitchers, when they're young, they just don't know what it is that they need to do to be ready and get better between appearances. And it's tough in this league it's easier, I should say, when you're playing every day, because you sort of know when it is you're going to pitch, when it is you're going to throw, have your side days, and you're always at the ballpark. But in our twilight schedule, we've been fortunate through the early part of the year to have a regular schedule. We haven't had any rainouts to this point, and so one of the things that I try and do with the guys is get productive work in before the game, and for guys that have already pitched or are going to be down for the game or in the bullpen, to know when it is situationally that they can go get work in and not feel like they have to be ready to pitch.
Let's take a guy like Gagnon tonight. A ground ball to third, and a tight play there by Vieira. And Damian Hortson crosses the bag just ahead of the throw. So an infield hit there. And Vieira throwing across his body on the run from third, a very difficult play. I want to just get back to the pitching, and because tonight Gagnon relieves you in the 5th, and he promptly strikes out the first batter for the second out of the inning, and then, the young lefty gives up the home run to Pop and a walk. And I mentioned at that time that, these are the types of situations that, this team is looking to use as a tool to help the players get better. Where Gagnon has an opportunity to, get some pitches in, make a couple outs, and, figure out what he needs to do in order to overcome, a mistake or two without really having it, affect the outcome of the game or the overall demeanor of the team.
Sure. Yeah, and it's the first part is that we've been working with Zach to try and get on top of more hitters. I think if you look at some of his numbers, he's a little bit disappointed with how often he's pitching behind in the counts. And obviously, for any pitcher, the more you're ahead, the more success is going to come for you. The question is really with guys is how do you inspire confidence before success comes, and I think that's where having a belief in your work and your process between outings and believing that what it is that you're doing to make yourself better, being comfortable with your practice reps, is going to really help a bunch of these young guys. So working with Zach and Albie and the other young guys on our staff has been really nice so far, because they're all been really open to suggestions, and just know that anything that is said from Taylor, myself, any of the other veterans on the team is just coming from a place where we're competitive. We want to see you do better. We want to see you get better and have more success when you go back to school.
All right. And Barrows strikes out to end the game.
Thanks for your time.
Kozakowski. Give me 1 second here.
Sure. Yeah.
What's next for East Hartford after tonight's win?
Tonight, not a whole lot. We're gonna probably a bunch of us all have to go to work in the morning. So,
what about you? What do you have? You got any games coming up this weekend?
I believe on Sunday we have another game. We've been playing pretty regularly on Sundays, but nice win tonight. Nice to get 3 in a row, and just see the team's confidence. Just seeing all these guys, the body language out there right now is it's great. It's good to be around it.
Yeah. So tonight, our final score: East Hartford 8, and Ulbrich 1. For Macon Jeffries, I'm Dan Saccu, and want to thank Jim coming in tonight and after his outing. Jim, good luck.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Good meeting you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.